Peace and grace, beloved soul. Today, the angels have a special message just for you, words that can lift your spirit, open your heart, and guide you into your divine season. Imagine a light shining on your path, showing you doors that are waiting to be opened, blessings that are waiting to flow. The universe is speaking, and your angels are whispering signs you don't want to miss. Before we dive in, I want you to take a deep breath, feel the love and peace surrounding you, and know that this moment is divinely timed just for you. If this message touches your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Holy Encouragement for more uplifting words from the angels. Your engagement helps us bring these divine whispers to more souls like you. Stop scrolling for a moment, because what I'm about to say is not random. Angels are saying, your heart will overflow when you see God bring you back together. Something happened last night. Not in the physical, not where your eyes could see it, but in the spiritual realm, there was movement. While you were sleeping, while you were overthinking, while you were wondering if it was truly over, heaven was working. You may have felt heavy yesterday. You may have sensed something shifting. Maybe you couldn't explain why you suddenly felt calm after weeks of anxiety. That was not your imagination. That was divine intervention. God has been listening to the prayers you whispered when no one else was around, the quiet tears, the why God moments, the nights you fell asleep replaying memories. None of it was wasted. And last night something changed. The angels want you to understand this clearly. The story is not finished. You thought the silence meant the end. You thought the distance meant rejection. You thought the closed door meant permanent loss. But heaven does not operate on human timing. What feels delayed to you is being carefully orchestrated above you. There was a spiritual decision made concerning your connection. Chains of misunderstanding are breaking. Pride is softening. Confusion is clearing. Even if you cannot see it yet, movement has begun. Have you noticed how your heart doesn't feel as heavy today? How the desperation has slowly been replaced with quiet expectation? That is alignment. When God decides to restore something, He does not rush. He recalibrates hearts. He restructures intentions. He removes interference. The angels are surrounding this situation. And here is what you must know. If God is bringing you back together, it will not be the same version of love you lost. It will be purified. Because separation was not destruction, it was preparation. You needed growth. They needed awakening. Both of you needed refinement. And sometimes God allows distance so destiny can mature. Last night marked a turning point. The energy of hopelessness is lifting. The narrative of it's over is dissolving. The heaviness of doubt is weakening. Heaven is aligning details you don't even know exist. Conversations are being rehearsed in their mind. Regret is surfacing. Memories are becoming louder. You didn't have to force this. You didn't have to manipulate it. You didn't have to chase it. God stepped in. And when God steps in, outcomes change. This message is confirmation for someone who almost gave up yesterday. You almost told yourself, I'm done believing. You almost hardened your heart. You almost closed the chapter for good. But something stopped you. That something was divine restraint. Because your heart will overflow when you see how God brings this back together. Not through chaos, not through drama, but through undeniable alignment. And here's the powerful truth. Reunion doesn't start with contact. It starts with correction in the spiritual realm. And that correction has begun. So in this moment, release the anxiety. Release the need to control. Release the fear of, what if it never happens? If it is written by God, it cannot be erased by humans. The angels are saying, prepare your heart. Forgive fully. Heal completely. Trust deeply. Because when restoration happens, you will look back at this very season and realize it was never abandonment. It was divine adjustment. Stay with me through this message, because in the next segment, we're going to uncover why the separation had to happen and how it positioned you for a love that feels different this time. But before we continue, if you feel this message confirming something in your spirit, type, "I trust the process" in the comments. Because what began shifting last night is only the beginning. Before you assume the worst, before you label it as rejection, before you convince yourself that you lost something forever, listen carefully. Angels are saying the separation was sacred. It did not happen to break you. It happened to build you. You thought it was the end of your love story, but heaven saw it as the beginning of transformation. Sometimes when two hearts meet too early, they connect emotionally but not spiritually. The feelings are real. The chemistry is undeniable. The bond feels powerful. But the foundation isn't ready. And God will never allow a divine connection to collapse permanently when it can still be refined. So what does He do? He creates distance, not to destroy the union, but to purify it. You needed growth in areas you didn't even realize were weak. Maybe you were overgiving. Maybe you were ignoring red flags. Maybe you were loving from fear instead of faith. And they had lessons too. Accountability, emotional maturity, clarity about what they truly value. The separation exposed what comfort was hiding. When someone is always there, we sometimes take them for granted, but distance reveals importance. Silence magnifies absence. Space amplifies realization. And that's what has been happening. The angels want you to know, while you were hurting, you were also evolving. Think about who you were before the separation. Were you setting boundaries? Were you confident in your worth? Were you secure in yourself without them? Be honest, because growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in stretching seasons. This separation forced you to face yourself. It forced you to confront your fears. It forced you to develop independence in areas where you were emotionally leaning too heavily. And now, you are stronger. You don't beg the way you used to. You don't panic the way you used to. You don't chase the way you used to. That is not bitterness. That is maturity. And here is the powerful truth. God will not reunite you with someone if the old version of you would tolerate the same patterns. This reunion requires a new foundation. And foundations are built in isolation. While you were apart, heaven was rebuilding character on both sides. Maybe they are reflecting more. Maybe they are recognizing your value more clearly. Maybe they are seeing how rare what you had truly was. Distance clarifies emotions. The angels are whispering. What feels like loss is actually alignment. Sometimes we pray, "God, if this is meant for me, bring it back better." But we don't realize that better requires breaking first. Breaking pride, breaking ego, breaking unhealthy attachment. You didn't lose them because you weren't enough. You were separated because timing needed correction. There is a difference, and timing is everything. If you had stayed together in that previous state, the relationship might have collapsed permanently. The arguments would have intensified. The misunderstandings would have deepened. Instead, heaven pressed pause. Not stop. Pause. Because divine love is not rushed. It is prepared. The angels say your heart will overflow not just because you reunite, but because you will see how necessary the separation truly was. You will realize, if we hadn't gone through that, we wouldn't be ready for this. Right now, you may still feel moments of doubt. That's natural. Healing isn't instant. But look at how far you've come. You pray differently now. You love differently now. You think differently now. That transformation is proof that the separation had purpose. And when God restores something, it does not return fragile. It returns fortified. So instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" ask, "What was this preparing me for?" Because preparation always precedes promotion. But before we continue, if you believe the separation was preparing you for something greater, type, "I am growing" in the comments. Your story didn't break. It's being rebuilt. There's something you need to understand. What happened between you was not just emotional. It was spiritual. Angels are saying there was a battle over your connection. Not every separation is spiritual warfare, but some unions carry purpose. And when purpose is attached to love, resistance often follows. Have you ever wondered why small misunderstandings turned into major conflicts? Why confusion appeared suddenly? Why miscommunication felt amplified? Sometimes when something is divinely aligned, distractions increase. Doubt whispers louder. Ego rises faster. Fear feels stronger. It wasn't random. The enemy of peace always targets what has potential. And your connection had potential. You felt it from the beginning, that unexplainable pull, that comfort, that sense of familiarity. It felt deeper than attraction. It felt destined. And anything destined attracts opposition. But here's what the angels want you to hear clearly. The battle did not win. It delayed things. It complicated things. It created distance. But it did not cancel what God approved. You see, spiritual battles are not always dramatic. Sometimes they look like overthinking. Sometimes they look like pride. Sometimes they look like outside voices influencing decisions. Seeds of doubt were planted. What if this isn't right? What if I can find better? What if this won't work? And instead of fighting for clarity together, both of you retreated inward. Silence grew. Walls went up. But while confusion was increasing on earth, angels were working behind the scenes. Heaven does not abandon divine assignments. If this union carries purpose, growth, legacy, spiritual alignment, then protection surrounds it even in separation. The angels were not asleep. They were intercepting what you couldn't see. Have you noticed how things didn't fully collapse? How despite the distance, the connection never completely died? You tried to move on emotionally, but something kept pulling you back to reflection. That is not weakness. That is unfinished purpose. When something is truly over, peace replaces attachment quickly. But when heaven is still involved, the thread remains. This doesn't mean everything will be effortless. It means the outcome is guarded. The spiritual battle exposed vulnerabilities in both of you. Maybe there was insecurity. Maybe there was fear of commitment. Maybe there were past wounds interfering. But exposure leads to awareness. And awareness leads to healing. The angels are saying, what tried to destroy this connection actually revealed what needed strengthening. Think about it. If you reunite without addressing those hidden cracks, the same patterns would repeat. The same triggers would resurface. The battle forced growth. It forced introspection. It forced both of you to confront parts of yourselves that comfort was hiding. And now, the intensity is shifting. Confusion is clearing. Clarity is replacing chaos. The heaviness that once surrounded this connection is lifting. You may not see physical evidence yet, but spiritually, alignment is taking place. Hearts are softening. Conviction is increasing. Understanding is rising. And here is the powerful truth. When God decides something will stand, no force can permanently tear it down. Temporary distance, yes. Lessons, yes. Refinement, absolutely. But destruction, not if it is written in divine ink. The angels want you to stop fighting in your mind. Stop replaying worst-case scenarios. Stop assuming defeat. Stop preparing yourself for permanent loss when heaven is preparing restoration. Your heart will overflow not just because you reunite, but because you will realize how protected this connection truly was. What looked like chaos was actually containment. What looked like collapse was actually correction. But before we continue, if you believe your connection is protected, type divine protection in the comments. Because what was attacked is now being aligned. Pause for a moment. Because what you're experiencing right now is not random. Angels are saying the signs are already appearing. You've been asking for confirmation. You've been praying, God, show me if this is really coming back. And heaven has been answering quietly, gently, consistently. Let's talk about the signs. First, your emotions have shifted. You're not as desperate as you were before. You're not crying every night anymore. You're not obsessively checking your phone. Instead, there's a strange calmness. That calm is not detachment. It's preparation. When God is about to restore something, He stabilizes your heart first, because reunion cannot happen from chaos. It must happen from peace. Second, memories are resurfacing for both of you. You may suddenly think about specific moments you haven't remembered in months. Certain conversations replay in your mind. The laughter feels vivid again. And here's what you don't see. They are remembering too. Distance has a way of magnifying value. When someone is no longer accessible, their absence becomes louder than their presence once was. Third, you're noticing synchronicities. Songs that remind you of them playing unexpectedly. Seeing their name randomly. Dreams that feel more real than imagination. These are not coincidences. When spiritual alignment begins, your intuition becomes sharper. You may even feel them thinking about you. That sudden pull, that unexpected wave of emotion, that urge to pray for them out of nowhere. Energy shifts before circumstances do. The angels are saying, pay attention to your spirit, not just your surroundings. Fourth, pride is weakening. This is powerful. At one point, both of you may have been stuck in, I won't reach out first. Ego blocked communication. Fear disguised itself as strength. But now, there's softness. You feel less angry, less defensive, less reactive. That softness is divine preparation, because reunion cannot happen through hardened hearts. Fifth, you are no longer trying to force it. This is the biggest sign. You've surrendered. You've said, God, if it's meant to be, bring it back the right way. And when surrender replaces control, miracles move faster. The angels are whispering, this is the quiet before divine action. But here's something important. Signs are not meant to make you impatient. They are meant to strengthen your trust. Reunion does not always happen overnight. Even when alignment begins, timing still matters. Think of it like sunrise. The sky begins to lighten before the sun is visible. The atmosphere shifts before the light fully appears. You are in that lightning sky phase. You don't see the full manifestation yet, but it's coming. Another sign. You are becoming ready to forgive completely. Not partially, not conditionally. Completely. You're starting to understand their perspective. You're seeing your own mistakes clearly too. Accountability is replacing blame. That is maturity. And maturity is required for divine restoration. Because if God brings you back together without forgiveness, the past will poison the future. The angels are clear. This reunion will not be fueled by nostalgia alone. It will be fueled by growth. And growth is happening right now. You may also notice that other options don't excite you the same way. Conversations with new people feel surface level. Connections feel temporary. That doesn't mean you're stuck. It means your spirit recognizes depth. When you've experienced something that carries purpose, superficial distractions lose their appeal. And here's the most powerful sign of all. You feel hope again. Not obsession, not fantasy. Hope, a steady, grounded belief that something good is unfolding. That kind of hope doesn't come from imagination. It comes from alignment. Angels are saying, your heart will overflow because what returns will feel earned, healed, and confirmed. But until it manifests physically, your job is simple. Stay centered. Stay faithful. Stay patient. But before we continue, if you're seeing the signs and choosing to trust divine timing, type, I see the signs in the comments. Because what feels subtle now will soon feel undeniable. Let this sink in. The version of you that experienced that heartbreak no longer exists. Angels are saying, your growth changed the entire outcome. You thought the separation was only about losing someone, but it was also about finding yourself. Before the distance, you may have loved with fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of not being chosen. And fear makes us react instead of respond. But look at you now. You pause before speaking. You reflect before assuming. You pray before panicking. That is transformation. The pain matured you. You learned how to sit with your emotions instead of chasing reassurance. You learned how to validate yourself instead of depending on someone else's attention to feel secure. And that shift, it changes everything. Because God will not restore a connection to the same version of you who tolerated confusion. He waited until you understood your worth. He waited until you realized you deserve consistency, honesty, and effort. Growth is not loud. It's subtle. It shows up in the way you no longer beg for clarity, in the way you no longer over-explain yourself, in the way you are willing to walk away if peace is threatened. That is strength, and strength prepares you for healthy love. The angels are saying, the old dynamic cannot survive your new mindset. That's why separation was necessary. If you had reunited too soon, old habits would have resurfaced. Old triggers would have reignited arguments. Old insecurities would have created the same cycle. But now, you see patterns clearly. You recognize red flags faster. You communicate differently. And here's something even more powerful. You don't need the reunion to feel whole anymore. Read that again. You don't need it. You desire it, but you don't depend on it. That emotional independence is what makes divine restoration safe. Because when two people come back together out of wholeness instead of desperation, the foundation becomes unshakable. Think about how you handle silence now. Before, silence meant panic. Now, silence means reflection. Before, distance meant chasing. Now, distance means trusting. That is growth. And the angels are working with that growth. They are aligning you not just for reunion, but for sustainability. Because what God restores, He intends to last. This next chapter will not be built on intensity alone. It will be built on intention. You are no longer impressed by words without action. You are no longer blinded by potential without proof. You are no longer willing to shrink yourself to keep someone comfortable. That maturity attracts respect, and respect stabilizes love. The angels are saying, your heart will overflow not simply because they return, but because you will notice how different you feel when they do. You won't feel anxious. You won't feel insecure. You won't feel like you're walking on eggshells. You will feel steady because you've done the inner work. And here's the truth most people don't talk about. Sometimes God delays reunion until your self-worth becomes stronger than your attachment. That way, if restoration happens, it enhances your life, it doesn't control it. Look at how your prayers have changed. Before you prayed, God, bring them back. Now you pray, God, bring back what's right for me. That shift invites alignment instead of obsession. The separation didn't just test your love, it trained your spirit. And now you are ready for something healthier than what existed before. But before we continue, if you recognize how much you've grown, type, I have changed in the comments. Because the new version of you is ready for a different outcome. While you were healing, God was working on them. Angels are saying, conviction has replaced confusion. You may not see it. You may not hear from them yet, but something is shifting inside their heart. At first, when the separation happened, they may have convinced themselves it was necessary. Pride can be loud in the beginning. Ego can make distance feel justified. But time has a way of revealing truth. Silence creates space for reflection, and reflection invites conviction. They are replaying conversations. Moments they once dismissed now feel significant. Words you spoke that they ignored now echo in their mind with clarity. Distance has removed distractions, and without constant noise around them, their heart is finally speaking louder. The angels want you to understand something powerful. God knows how to reach a heart you cannot. You didn't need to argue harder. You didn't need to explain yourself again. You didn't need to prove your value. Heaven stepped in where you stepped back. Sometimes when you release control, God applies pressure in ways that bring awakening. They may not admit it yet, but they feel the absence. Not just of your presence, but of your energy, your support, your understanding. The comfort they once had is no longer accessible. And now they see what they had more clearly. But here's what's even more important. This isn't about guilt. It's about growth. God is not trying to shame them into returning. He is maturing them. Because a reunion without maturity would only repeat the same cycle. The angels are saying their heart is being softened. Stubbornness is weakening. Defensiveness is fatting. Perspective is expanding. You might even feel it. Sudden thoughts about them that feel different, calmer, warmer. An intuition that something is shifting behind the scenes. That's alignment in progress. When God begins to work on someone's heart, change starts internally before it becomes visible externally. You won't see it immediately, but you will sense it. There may be nights when they can't sleep as peacefully. Moments when your memory surfaces unexpectedly. Times when they compare everyone else to you and no one measures up. Because now they are not looking through ego. They are looking through awareness. The angels are whispering, what you prayed for is happening quietly. You prayed for clarity. Clarity is coming. You prayed for accountability. Accountability is forming. You prayed for emotional maturity. And maturity takes time. While you were strengthening your boundaries, God was strengthening their understanding. While you were learning to love yourself deeper, God was teaching them not to take love lightly. This is not coincidence. It is coordination. Heaven does not rush transformation. It cultivates it. And when the change becomes genuine, not temporary, not emotional, but rooted, that's when movement begins. You must resist the urge to interfere. Don't check constantly. Don't overanalyze every social media activity. Don't try to predict timing. Trust the process. Because when God works on someone's heart, it is thorough. And when they return, you will feel the difference. It won't be surface-level apologies. It will be sincere understanding. It won't be empty promises. It will be intentional effort. The angels are clear. Your heart will overflow because you will recognize the change. You will see humility where there was once pride. You will hear sincerity where there was once avoidance. You will feel stability where there was once inconsistency. That kind of transformation can only come from divine influence. But before we continue, if you trust that God is working on their heart right now, type "God is moving" in the comments. Because what is changing inside them is preparing what will soon happen between you. Take a deep breath. Because this moment you've been imagining, it won't unfold the way your anxiety pictured it. Angels are saying the reunion will feel peaceful, not chaotic. You may have imagined dramatic confessions, long emotional speeches, tears, and overwhelming intensity. But divine restoration rarely looks like a movie scene. It feels calm. It might start with a simple message, a "Hey, I've been thinking," or an unexpected encounter that feels too aligned to be coincidence. When your eyes meet again, something inside you will settle instead of race. And that's how you'll know it's different. Before, your connection may have felt intense but unstable, passionate but unpredictable, exciting but exhausting. This time, it will feel steady. The angels are saying your heart will overflow, not because of adrenaline, but because of peace. There will be a pause when you first speak. Not an awkward silence, a sacred one. A moment where both of you silently acknowledge everything that happened without needing to relive it immediately. You'll notice the difference in their tone. Less defensiveness, more humility, less pride, more presence. And you won't feel the urge to prove yourself. You won't feel the need to secure them. You'll feel grounded, because you are no longer approaching this reunion from fear. You are approaching it from growth. The first conversation may be simple. Catching up, light laughter, honest acknowledgement of the distance. But underneath the surface, something deeper will be happening. Alignment. When God restores something, He removes the emotional turbulence that once surrounded it. That's why this reunion will not feel rushed. It will unfold naturally. There won't be pressure to define everything immediately. There won't be urgency driven by insecurity. There will be intentional packing. The angels are whispering. This time, it won't feel like you're trying to hold onto something fragile. It will feel like you're building something solid. You may even be surprised by your own reaction. You expected to cry, but instead you feel calm. You expected to feel overwhelmed, but instead you feel clarity. That calmness is confirmation, because divine timing carries peace. And here's something important. Not every reunion is meant to restart instantly. Sometimes it begins as rebuilding trust slowly. Conversations that go deeper than before. Accountability that feels sincere. Actions that match words. You will see effort without having to demand it. Consistency without having to chase it. That is how you'll recognize the difference between nostalgia and genuine transformation. The angels are clear. Your heart will overflow because you will see growth in them, and you will feel growth in yourself. You'll realize the separation did not destroy the connection. It refined it. The pain you once carried will no longer feel heavy. It will feel like history. And instead of replaying what went wrong, you'll focus on what is possible now. There will be a moment, maybe small, maybe quiet, where you think to yourself, "This feels right." Not perfect, not fantasy. Right. And that's when gratitude will replace resentment. Because you'll understand why timing mattered. You'll understand why healing was necessary. You'll understand why rushing would have ruined what patience restored. But before we continue, if you believe your reunion will be peaceful and divinely aligned, type "It will be different" in the comments. Listen carefully. Angels are saying, this is not a rewind, it's a redemption. You are not being taken back to where things broke. You are being guided forward into something rebuilt. There's a difference. The past version of your connection may have been intense, passionate, even magnetic, but it may also have been unstable. You might have walked on emotional tightropes. You might have ignored small warning signs because the feelings were strong. But strong feelings without structure cannot last. That's why this reunion will be different. Not louder, not flashier, stronger. The angels are clear. What returns will be anchored in maturity. You've both seen what life feels like apart. You've both experienced the absence. That awareness creates appreciation. And appreciation changes behavior. This time, communication will matter more. Before, misunderstandings may have been left unresolved, texts misinterpreted, silence used as defense. Now, conversations will go deeper. Instead of reacting quickly, there will be listening. Instead of assuming the worst, there will be asking for clarity. That shift alone changes everything. And here's something powerful. Boundaries will be respected. You are not the same person who tolerated confusion. You have standards now. You have self-respect. You have peace you are unwilling to sacrifice. And the angels are saying, this reunion will honor that. Because when God restores something, He upgrades the foundation. Think of it like rebuilding a house after a storm. You don't reuse weak materials. You reinforce the structure. You strengthen what once collapsed. That's what's happening here. The old version cracked under pressure. The new version is being reinforced by growth. This time, effort will feel mutual. You won't be the only one initiating. You won't be the only one apologizing. You won't be the only one trying. Balance will replace imbalance. And that balance will bring peace. The angels are whispering. Your heart will overflow because you'll realize you didn't lose love. You were being prepared for healthier love. You will notice small but powerful differences. Consistency where there was once unpredictability. Honesty where there was once avoidance. Security where there was once anxiety. And perhaps most importantly, intentionality. This time, there will be clarity about where things are going. No more guessing. No more mixed signals. No more emotional confusion. Because confusion is not a fruit of divine alignment. Clarity is. But here's your responsibility in this new chapter. Do not bring old fear into new beginnings. If God restores this connection, trust the restoration. Don't constantly test it. Don't expect it to fail. Don't prepare for disappointment. Let it unfold without projecting past pain onto present growth. You are wiser now. You can observe without overreacting. You can communicate without attacking. You can love without losing yourself. That's the difference. The angels are saying, this reunion will not be built on emotion alone, it will be built on purpose. And when love has purpose, it carries direction. You may even discover that the separation clarified your shared goals. Conversations about the future will feel more aligned. Values will feel more compatible. Vision will feel unified. That's because growth doesn't just change individuals. It strengthens connections. But before we continue, if you are ready for a love that is stronger than before, type rebuilt and RESTORED in the comments. Because what's returning is not the same story. It's the healed version. Right now, things may feel quiet. You might be asking yourself, is this really happening? Has God forgotten me? Angels are saying, this is the calm before the breakthrough. Divine timing often feels invisible. You can't see the pieces moving, but heaven is orchestrating every detail. Think about it like the sunrise. Before the sun appears, the sky slowly begins to lighten. Colors shift, shadows fade. You sense something is coming, even though you cannot see it yet. That's what's happening in your connection. The final steps are often the quietest, but also the most powerful. You've done your part. You've healed your heart. You've grown in self-worth. You've prayed, surrendered, and released control. Now it's time to trust. Trust that God is aligning circumstances, softening hearts, and preparing both of you to meet at the right moment. Sometimes the wait feels longer than expected, but that is not a sign of delay, it's a sign of perfection. God does not restore relationships too early. He waits until the timing ensures peace, maturity, and readiness. The angels are whispering. Every delay has a purpose. Every moment of silence is preparation. Every challenge was shaping the hearts involved. Do not measure this process by human impatience. Instead, measure it by growth, by peace, by clarity. You may feel small nudges, intuition telling you they are thinking of you, unexpected messages, dreams that feel unusually vivid, songs, sights, or even scents that trigger memories. These are subtle signs from heaven saying, it's coming. Do not dismiss them, do not ignore them. At the same time, remain grounded. Do not overanalyze or force situations. Divine timing cannot be rushed by anxiety, overthinking, or control. Your role now is simple. Maintain faith. Protect your peace. Keep growing. Every spiritual battle, every past pain, every moment of doubt is now aligned to prepare you for the moment of reunion. The angels are saying, when the time is right, everything that needed correction will be corrected. Every misunderstanding will dissolve. Every lesson will be applied. Every heart will be ready. And when that moment comes, you will recognize it immediately. Your heart will overflow with gratitude, relief, and love, because you'll see the purpose behind every step of the journey. But before we continue, if you are ready to trust God's perfect timing, type, I trust the process in the comments. Because what feels quiet now is the preparation for a divine moment you'll never forget. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Angels are saying, your heart will overflow when you see God bring you back together. Not because of drama, not because of desperation, not because of coincidence, but because of divine orchestration. All the waiting, all the tears, all the unanswered questions, they were never wasted. They were preparation. Every broken piece of your heart was being refined to receive something greater than you imagined. When you finally reconnect, it will feel different. The conversations will be easier. The laughter will be lighter. The understanding will run deeper. Because both of you have changed. Because both of you have grown. Because both of you are coming from a place of wholeness, not neediness. Your heart will overflow with gratitude for the journey, for the lessons, for the patience that seemed impossible to hold. You will look back and see that nothing happened by chance. Every separation, every doubt, every night of crying alone, it was all leading to this divine alignment. This is why you must release fear. Do not overthink. Do not demand timelines. Do not question God's wisdom. Divine reunions are never rushed. They are never forced. They are intentional, perfect, and timely. And here is the most beautiful part. This restoration will not just heal the relationship. It will heal your soul. It will heal their soul. It will heal every area of your heart that once believed love could be temporary. Your overflow will not just be joy. It will be peace. It will be clarity. It will be confirmation that God always keeps His promises. Now is your moment to receive this blessing fully. Type "I receive" in the comments if you are ready for God's restoration in your love life. Like this video to confirm your faith in His timing. Subscribe to this channel, Holy Encouragement, so you never miss a prophetic message that could transform your life. Because your reunion is not a coincidence. It is destiny. And when it happens, your heart will overflow.